Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here, and here we go with another video. And this is my top targets for double game week 25, and just a little bit of reaction from the game week 24 that we've just finished. It's Monday night here in Australia. The deadline finished early on in the hours this morning here in Melbourne. So I'm just going to go through a bit of reaction, just my team, how it performed, my captain, and then I will go through my top targets for the double game week 25. Which is also a blank game week as well. One thing to keep in mind for game week 25 as well, it's a double and it's a blank, but it's also an early game week. It's a Friday night in England, which is a Saturday morning here in Australia. So that's one thing just to keep in mind prior to the deadline. Just before we start as well, if you can please like this video, just take 5 seconds of your time out to like, another 5 seconds to subscribe if you're new here, and also hit the notification bell so you do not miss an upload. But let's start off. I'm going to present the screen. I'm going to quickly go through my team so everyone can just see how I got on for this game week on the back of my team selection last week, in which I did roll a transfer. As you all know, for those that watched my stream last week, I rolled a transfer. I got 66 points. Couple of really good players in there. Odegaard, 8 points, getting his first points for me. Bringing him in a couple of weeks ago. Saka with a return. Luke Shaw with a return. Some disappointments with March, Dunk, who I did expect more from. Tony as well, and obviously Haaland. But I got the bench order just about right. Obviously, Andreas did score higher than Solly March. But the captaincy was where I got it right. Marcus Rashford with 30 points as captain, which I was really, really happy with. And everyone that followed my content last week saw I was really pining for Marcus Rashford. So I was really happy with that and him coming out with 2 goals. And I think if it stayed on longer, he probably would have come out with a hat-trick. So I was really happy with that. So good game week. I've beat the average. I'm climbing back up the ranks. Obviously after such a bad start to the season. And I'm going to quickly go back actually and share the screen one more time so I can quickly just go through the fixtures for this double/blank game week that we've got ahead of us. As you can see here, first game's Fulham versus Wolves. It's that early deadline, as you can see. So the 7 a.m. is over here in Australia, which is Saturday morning. So Wolves are a double game week team. Arsenal are another double game week team. Everton are another double game week team, and Liverpool are another double game week team. So you've got Fulham Wolves, Everton Villa, Leeds Southampton, Leicester Arsenal, West Ham Forest, Bournemouth City, Palace Liverpool, Spurs Chelsea, Arsenal Everton, and Liverpool versus Wolves. There is blanks for Brighton, Newcastle, Manchester United, and Brentford. So you will need to find places for those players. For me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at using probably 9 or 10 men. I've got 2 free transfers. At the moment, I've only got 7 players available. With a -4, I can get 10 players available. I'm not going to use a free hit. I think there's going to be other double game weeks or blank game weeks, which are going to require more surgery than my team for this current game week. And I've got 2 transfers, so I've got an opportunity to bring in a couple of Liverpool defenders. I'm looking at Robertson. I'm looking at Trent. I'm looking at Tarkowski in a -3. I'm also looking at the potential of Darwin Núñez for Tony. So there's lots of options there, which will lead me into the next part of this short video tonight. And it's going to just be me going through some initial thoughts quickly on game week 24, and then my go forward thoughts on game week 25. So my game week 24 reaction was the Rashford captain really did pay off, as I just mentioned before. I'm really happy with that. Don't be scared at this time of the season to go against Haaland when he's in an away game. We've already seen he struggles in these away games. City aren't firing on all cylinders. And it was those home games where I think you have to just captain him, especially against the bottom sides. But regardless of who Haaland plays away, he's only got 1 double score, which was Leeds away this season. He's not got any other double-digit scores away from home. So I think you can captain an informed home player against Haaland, which brings us into game week 25 as well with captaincy. Just some early thoughts. I think Saka is probably one of the best captaincy shouts, along with Odegaard. And then with Liverpool, I think Trent's a really good option. Potentially Darwin Núñez. He does maybe have a shoulder injury. I still think Haaland is a captain option away at Bournemouth. It probably will be the week he comes out and gets his hat trick or a couple of goals when no one's sort of captaining him again. But for me, I think the Arsenal assets, after them bouncing back against Villa, they're going to be full of confidence. They're the ones you want to look to captain in game week 25. Another point actually on game week 24, Liverpool went to St James's Park and won by 2-0. Newcastle did have 10 men, but it's a second clean sheet in a row for Liverpool. They are definitely back on our radar for game week 25. So I definitely think there is a chance with some Liverpool picks. So let's go through some Liverpool picks now. So with Liverpool, you've got Robertson at 6.8 million. He picked up a couple of bonus points and a clean sheet against Newcastle. He's a really simple switch from Cancelo for me. Like for like, you get a 0.2 extra in the bank as well. So that's an easy switch. If you're like me, you've still got Cancelo. And then a second one who I think is a really good option. He's got assists in his last 2 games. He's got 3 bonus in his last game away at Newcastle. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold, starting to really get back to the Trent that we all knew, the attacking Trent, the player that can keep clean sheets and get assists as well. And Liverpool's double game week, Crystal Palace away and Wolves at home. Palace aren't on great form. Wolves are obviously low scoring and very hit and miss. So it is a good double game week for Liverpool and their defenders. Liverpool do have Real Madrid prior to this deadline. So just be very mindful and wary and don't make any moves until the Champions League and the Europa League is done as well. But yeah, with Liverpool, I'm liking Trent. I'm liking how threatening he's looking. I'm liking Robertson. I think you can swap Cancelo for one of them. Definitely do it. And then Trippier, if you've got more money left over and you can take out Trippier for one of them, I would still do it because you are going to lose value on Trippier. But if you've got a wild card up your sleeve or a little bit of money in reserve where you are going to lose that value, you can always bring him back. Probably not in game week 26 when they play Man City, but game week 27 or 28, you can book in a transfer and bring him back at some stage. I just think with Newcastle's form, starting to stutter slightly, the games are piling up. I think he will be essential in that run-in, but right now I think you can just do the old get rid of him for a few game weeks and look to bring him back and forget about the value that you're going to lose. Forget about it. You need to chase points at this stage of the season. So Robertson and Trent are 2 really good players I'm liking from Liverpool. A third option, there's people asking me about Salah, Gakpo or Nunez. I prefer Gakpo to Salah. He scored in his last 2 games. I know Salah's provided a goal and assist. I just think for that value, it's just not worth it. I know there's a lot of people who can do a straight switch from De Bruyne to Salah. That's different. But if you can't make that move, I think you've got to go for Gakpo if you can, and you're going for that third Liverpool asset, and it's a midfielder. Don't ruin your team to bring in Salah because he's still not firing in all cylinders. He's still not getting more points than what a premium asset should really be getting. A Gakpo could come out with a goal in each game, and he could end up beating Salah. And there's players like Saka, Odegaard. If you don't have Saka, preference to have him over Salah as well. And I'm liking Gakpo for his price. Nunez as well. I do really like Darwin Nunez. He's a good price. He could be a good switch for someone like Tony, and then you can look to bring Tony back for that double game week 27. He did pick up a bit of a shoulder knock against Newcastle. So we will see in the Champions League if Nunez is fit and if he's ready. And if he does, he comes through that game unscathed, he could be a really good option for Liverpool. So the LFC Liverpool picks are back. Robertson, Trent definitely should be on your radar. You can see a couple of potentially at least 1 clean sheet there for Liverpool in the game at home to Wolves, maybe even 2. I think defensive options are the best picks at the moment. And then I'm liking Gakpo and Nunez, and Salah only if you can do it for Kevin De Bruyne. So let's move on to the Arsenal double game week. So Liverpool's is Palace and Wolves. Arsenal's is against Leicester away, a team who are back on form, Leicester. I know they just lost 3-0, but at home they've been a lot more improved. But I still think Arsenal will come away and win this one. And I think Leicester will score goals, but I think Arsenal will score more and end up winning this one. So the triple up, a lot of people still have it from Arsenal's double game week a few weeks ago. So for me, Saka and Odegaard are the priority. They're the 2 that you've got to prioritise. And then a third one, if you've still got Nketiah, you keep him. He's missing chances, but he's getting in the good positions. So you just keep him now. And if you've got Ben White, you keep him. He was really far up the pitch against Aston Villa the other day, was very unlucky not to get an assist or two. A lot of people thought he should have got the assist when Mings headed that ball out, but he didn't get it. But White was a good threat. I think he could end up getting at least a clean sheet in one of these two games. So for me, Saka number one, Erdegaard number two, and then if you've got Ben White, you keep him and play him. If you've got Nketiah, you keep him and play him. Maybe a third option if you don't have either White and Nketiah could be Zinchenko, because he's looking like an attacking threat, getting forward, scored his first goal, and seems to be getting on the ball a lot, which is good for the bonus points. So that's Arsenal. Let's go to Everton. This is another team that's starting to slowly pick up some form under Sean Dyche, who they do call the Ginger Mourinho. But I look at it and think with Everton, you've got to go defensive. I know in the double game week they've got Everton have got Villa at home, which could be tight. They could squeeze a 1-0 out of that game. Again, Villa have scored, I think, in their last 9 or 10 games, but that's the one that you're looking at your Everton defensive assets. Arsenal away, probably not so much. Everton's record at the Emirates hasn't been good of late. But again, Tarkowski is a threat on all of these set pieces. He got his head on one against Arsenal a few weeks ago. Against Liverpool, he hit the bar. He was in the box again for Everton the other day when he knocked it down and Maupay had it cleared off the line. So Tarkowski at 4.3 million. He has risen in price. He's only 4.3 and he got 8 points against Leeds, 2 bonus. I'm feeling a goal in one of those 2 games. And even if you don't get a clean sheet in the first game, he could easily cause Arsenal problems from set pieces in the second game. Likewise, you've got Seamus Coleman, 15 points and a goal on the weekend, 4.4 million. So he's 0.1 more than Tarkowski. Has had his injury problems, but I think he'll keep his place at right back. He's really, really trusted at Everton. He's been there a long time. I think Dyche likes him. He's getting forward and he is very attacking. So he could be someone, if you want a little bit more upside of Coleman basically or virtually playing as a right wing back, really high up on that right hand side as well. You could look at Seamus Coleman. I think that's kind of it where I sit with Everton. I know there's a couple of cheap options like Iwobi, but again, I wouldn't be pulling down trees to bring him in. And then you've also got Calvert-Lewin up front, but he is injured. And then you've got Maupay again, Demarai Gray, those types of players. I wouldn't think too much about bringing in. Myelenko possibly, but I think his price is a little bit too much when you can get Tarkowski and Seamus Coleman. So let's go to Wolves, the last team in this double game week. They've got Fulham away and Liverpool away. I can see them conceding at Anfield. Fulham is the one where a lot of people are hoping it is one of those drab 0-0 type of draws, and then their Wolves assets get them the point. Can I see it happening? Maybe. Fulham's games have been a lot less scoring lately. Mitrovic has been in and out of the team. I still think Kilman is the best option at 4.3 million if he's going to go down that Wolves route. I know there's people with Bueno as well, 3.9, and they're going to play him because he's been their bench player for a while. But again, I wouldn't be going too hard and trying to bring in these Wolves players because I think there's better options. But if you don't have any money, you're already tied up in Tarkowski, and there's sort of no one else you can get, then maybe you could look at Kilman for Wolves, but there's not anyone else I'd really recommend at Wolves, not even a Neves. There's just not any upside with any of their attackers right now, not even Podence. Cunha, he's not scoring goals. There's not really much in it for Wolves. If you've got the likes of Jose Sarr, you obviously play him and keep him. Other than that, that is where I'm at with Wolves players. So that is my roundup of game week 25, my sort of pre-thoughts, and obviously some of my takeaways from game week 24 as well. So Trippier, I think you can sell. Rashford, you keep. I'd be keeping the likes of Luke Shaw, finding ways for them on your bench, maybe even Tony as well. If you can play with 10 men, play with 10 men. If you can get away with 9 men with a good captain, I think you can still get away with it this week. Save the chips for better double game weeks and better blank game weeks. But again, it's team dependent. If you've got 3 players in your lineup this weekend, 4 players, you're probably going to have to use your free hit. But look, I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed my FPL top targets video for double game week 25. I'll be back. Champions League content this week. There'll be shorts here on the YouTube, so go and check them out. As I said, like this video if you really enjoyed what you've seen. Subscribe if you're new here, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. There'll be plenty of more content prior to this week's deadline. I'm FPLMattDay, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.